Hello everyone and welcome back to my Senate prediction videos where we take a look at the Senate races going on across America in 2020 projections. The next state we're going to take a look at is the state of Montana, a seat currently held by the Republican Party and Senator Steve Daines. Daines is a Republican in his first term. In 2014, Daines won the open seat by 17.72%. Trump won the state in 2016 by over 20%. Most people believe that on election night, 2020, Donald Trump will carry Montana, although possibly by a slightly diminished number of votes and percentage than he did in 2016. Some polls have showed him losing support in the state, and certainly a competitive Senate race will help Democrat enthusiasm and turnout. But overall, I think Trump will win the state on election night. Now, let's take a look at the two nominees. Steve Bullock, the current governor of Montana, a two-term governor, is the Democratic nominee. Prior to becoming governor, Bullock served as the state's attorney general. The Republican nominee is the current incumbent Senator Steve Daines. Prior to being elected to the Senate, Daines served as one term as the Montana congressional representative, and Montana only has one congressional representative. It's an at-large district. The votes in the primaries were 219,205 for Republican candidates, or about 59%, 151,854 for Democratic candidates, or about 40.92%. This race is very interesting because Bullock, when he was running for president in 2020 in the Democratic primary prior to dropping out and getting in this race, insisted that he did not want to get in this race. Montana's also unique in the fact that, as I said, it's one of the states in the country that has an at-large congressional representative, and it's a very large state. It's the fourth largest in terms of size, and to be able to compete there for the congressional representative, it's very easy to make the jump to the Senate because you've obviously won a statewide race before. You've also got the fact that Bullock is a two-term governor, so he's won in the state. He actually won the state re-election to the governorship on the same night that Donald Trump carried the state in 2016. And Montana has had a Democratic governor since 2004, and it has a Democrat currently representing it in the Senate in Jon Tester, and prior to Steve Daines holding this exact seat, it was held by a Democrat for a number of years. For many years, in fact, in the early 2000s and late 90s, Montana had a split delegation in its seats in the Senate, and still does to this day. There was a brief time when there were two Democrats representing it, but overall, it's had a history of having a split Senate representation. So it is a state Democrats can win in. And Bullock is a candidate that is a really good candidate. Of any of the projections I'm making, this is the one I feel the least confident in. But I think that Daines, the incumbent senator, is going to be elected to a second term. I know that Montana already has had a high turnout in the early voting, absentee voting, and a lot of enthusiasm. I just think that the country is so polarized right now, and voting is so polarized. And even though this race has really flown under the radar um, nationally, other states have gotten a lot more attention. Um, I think that's going to hurt this race in a sense um, when it's a very winnable race for Democrats. And I think the focus elsewhere when Democrats look back on this election, and even if they win the Senate, they think about, well, where else could we have won? I think this may be a seat that they look back on and say, man, if we'd only focused more on this race or put more resources into it, it will that will be the thought. Also, the same for um, Republicans, even though there's a lot of outside money being spent in this, it's not getting a lot of media exposure. So that could be said for Republicans. And my prediction will be this looking back, what I will say if Bullock wins, it will come down to the fact that he's a Democrat voters are comfortable with and that voters wanted to send a message that they're unhappy with the current state of the country. So I'm not very confident in this pick as I have been others. But Senator Daines is going to be elected to a second term in the Senate.